Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Now, as you probably can tell by this very horrible looking face, I have not gotten ready for the day, which is probably why I've kind of considered doing a double video basically explaining why I'm learning Icelandic or how I'm learning it, and also get ready with me. The clock is like 12:49, so it's taken me a little bit of a while to actually get ready for the day. Basically, most of my life, I always wanted to learn languages, and I also found it very fascinating of how a language can be learned and that you can actually speak it and like speak to natives. It's probably the language I never thought I would learn, and also a language I never thought of, because it wasn't really a language, like, it's not a language that most people learn, which actually, to be honest, I feel like more people should, because it's a beautiful language. It expresses itself in its own way, and they have an own like committee that decides words for them that are not supposed to sound English at all. So basically, to English speakers, it's totally clueless. They have like no clue. But then I met someone that is fully Icelandic, and I just was like, do you know what? I want to learn it. So I'm starting to learn it. It's definitely a challenging and hard language. It is being recalled as the hardest language to learn. Actually, not the hardest, but it's definitely a hard language to learn. You know, I'm just gonna get started. You know, I have just seen it. I have a very big forehead, and I'm kind of glad that I cut bangs, because like it is so big. Yeah. A little backstory. Yeah, like I said, my whole life I basically wanted to learn languages, and the first language that I kind of remember trying, I think, was German. And then of course, like, when you go on vacations, you kind of like tend to learn like a little bit of the languages. Like the small words, like the easy, like thank you and goodbye and no and yes. And I also remember this when we were in France, me and my sister, we learned no and oui. And every time like a seller that goes around in Paris, like in Paris, it was always like no, 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 no. They thought it was hilarious because, you know, we're not French. My sister has learned French, but we're not French. And it was kind of funny because they thought it was hilarious that like two young people were just like, no, 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 no. My mom and I went to Venice, and I remember when I was there, I was just so fascinated by everything. The language, the culture, the people, the food. I feel like that was like, when I was like, do you know what, I'm gonna learn a little bit Italian. So I went to my local library. I borrowed, I think, like maybe 5-6 books of like to learn Italian. I even had like a grammar book. I had like everything. And then I also downloaded Duolingo, which, to be honest, is an app that I don't really recommend. I don't know, it doesn't help you. I don't feel like that helps me in any way of learning language. It just gives you the most random sentences, and I don't get it. Italian was definitely the first language that I wanted to learn, actually wanted to. So I kind of stopped like for maybe some months, and then I started again. But then I thought to myself like, oh, I can learn other languages. I tried, like I want to say I tried, because learning a language is never easy. For me, it was no way I could learn a language in like 7 days. It was like no point. Other languages I wanted to try. This was because, one of them is because of my sister. I was just curious. Of course, you have the most normal languages people would learn. So Spanish and French and German. So I had 4 languages in. I had Italian, German, Spanish, and French. I knew basic things in French, like hello, and I still do. I don't know that much. But I started kind of I searched up videos, how I can learn this language, how things like, I know, I kind of just grasp every like study method to learn a language. When I started learning Italian, I think that's probably when I got the most, because that's the language I wanted to learn the most. but I didn't really have like a study technique where I learned this language, then this language, then this language. Like, so I basically took days. I just kind of went like Italian, then Spanish, then that. The thing is, if you learn a language that are similar, good luck. Stop learning languages. It was like no point. Then I started learning it again. I think this was like high school maybe, where I was like, you know what, I want to learn it again. So I did. I started with the same Italian things, and that is when I remember installing Babbel. Now Babbel, I must say, it is a good app. I definitely remember it being good. I don't know how they are now. I don't have it anymore, but I used to have it. I had it in both Italian and Portuguese. I also tried it in Swedish, but I basically added more languages. I did Italian, Spanish, French, German, Dutch, Swedish, and Portuguese, and a little bit of Russian and Greek. I started learning a little bit of Portuguese, and I remember very little, and I mean very little, of my Portuguese. I think I remember tudo bem and hoje, I think, and obrigada and obrigado. I think that's about it. Learning Portuguese was like very hard, so I kind of stopped, but I wouldn't mind learning it, of course. Then I continued on with Spanish, French, German, Italian, and then one year I decided to just focus on 2 languages, and those 2 languages came to be Italian and Swedish. So with language learning, I continued on going to VG2, which is then second time in high school. And that is where I kind of just, I don't remember doing that much language actually. I kind of just stopped. I stopped with language learning there. But then I kind of started up again, like in between, and I think that mostly was like Italian. So basically the whole like summary of the story is Italian was definitely the main and the most focused language. But I still couldn't really get that much in. And then I met a person. We started talking on the 28th of February. The thing is, I didn't know he was Icelandic. Didn't say in his profile at all. We started talking, and after a while I heard that he was Icelandic, but I didn't hear he was fully Icelandic. I thought he was half at first. I thought he was half English, no, not half English, half Norwegian and half Icelandic. He wasn't. He was fully Icelandic, and I found that quite quickly actually. So we got together, and I met his parents, I think at like the 14th of March, I think. And that was crazy. So I was like to myself, I had not learned Icelandic yet, but I wouldn't like, I was like in my head, maybe I should. So I started. I said to him that, like, if I learn Icelandic, would you help me? Because I need a teacher, and well, you're the closest Icelandic person I have. Even his dad messaged me, and that was very nice. I am now in the progress of learning Icelandic. Right, now we've gotten to the part of how I'm learning it. How am I learning it? First of all, I had a book. My birthday was on the 11th of April, and I got this gift, which is a very nice notebook from my friend. So when I got it, like, I didn't think of it at first, but when I got it, it was like, you know what, I can use this as my Icelandic. And I have used this for my Icelandic lesson ever since. First page I wrote down in Icelandic was an essentials. Essentials as in saying yes and no, hi and thank you. There's actually a lot of ways to say thank you. But like, just essentials. Please, good evening, good night, good morning, very easily. Now, I remember not doing this in Italian or any other languages that I've learned, and that is pronunciations. This is what I did. I wrote down pronunciations because some of the words has accents. So I wrote down right here, like A sounds like this, and then this A sounds like this, and I highlighted the ones that are like special. Then you have the other special letters. They also have a P, but it's not a P, but it looks like a P, but it's pronounced as th. It's a old English thing, I think. Then they have a D. I don't know if it actually is a D, but it looks like a D for me, and it's also pronounced th. So kind of going further into this book, I have songs. Now, I love getting the accent in. I don't care like if I get it wrong at first, because everybody will get it wrong at the first try. I started searching up Icelandic songs, but not Icelandic songs actually, Icelandic Disney songs. And oh my god, why haven't I discovered this before? Because they sing so beautifully. Wait, there's 4 songs that I absolutely adore in Icelandic, and that is So This Is Love in Cinderella, Lava, which is also a Disney original song, and then Why Should I Worry, and Bell, but reprise. By the way, I'm not picking my nose, I'm scratching the inside because it's itching. And all of those songs are just so beautifully sung, and I have learned So This Is Love in French, and the French one is beautiful as well. But it takes practice to like get the lyrics in your head, because it's not easy. Yeah, so I, in my Icelandic book, have written down So This Is, oh god, So This Is Love. I have translated it. I have taken the pronunciation. I've done everything to like understand it and also sing it. I think Icelandic definitely is a language that I feel like sounds so beautiful. So like a tip that I kind of have to people that's learning a language is actually to, if you like singing and you can get lyrics quite quickly into your head, listen to songs in your designated language, the language you actually want to learn. Another thing that I do for learning Icelandic is taking lessons. Now, these are paid. The first lesson is free, but the other ones are paid. I use this app called Pimsleur. For Icelandic, I paid full course. I think this is like course 1 or something. And I learned, well, I took the first lesson, and I was amazed like of how much I got into my head. And I'm on lesson 7 now. I'm on lesson 8 for today. So it basically looks like this. And just go into it. I have like an old folder for Icelandic, as you just saw. And as you can see, I'm on lesson 7. It is complete. If I kind of go back, you can see lesson 1. Now lesson 1 is completely free. So it's basically a 30-minute language course where you basically just learn. You go in, you start speaking, you will have a conversation first you listen to, and then after a while you're gonna speak it yourself. I also have drops. I've just learned basic phrases from that. I haven't used it in a while because I love Pimsleur. So I have, of course, Google Translate is the one that I've used. I've used other sites. I've used How to Pronounce. I also use forvo.com, and then I use glossby.com. Let's see, I want to like try to do a conversation, but I'm kind of scared because I feel like some people would judge me. Like, I'm so scared to like speak in front of my boyfriend with like Icelandic, because I feel like he's gonna judge me on every pronunciation I do. He probably won't. At least I'm done in a way with getting ready, so that's good. Now I'm gonna do this purely from memory, no books, nothing, even though I have books here, and I also have this open, so I should probably close that. Approaching someone, hello. Then it depends if I'm meeting a man or a woman, but I would say sæl. Sæl. Hvað segir þú gott? Ég segi allt gott, eller allt gott, allt mjög gott. Talar þú ensku? Talar þú ensku? Nei, ég tala ekki ensku. Talar þú íslenskur? Já, smávegis. Ég tala smávegis íslenskur. Oh god, it's very hard. Afastræti þarna. Þarna. Þetta Austurstræti. Austurstræti. Austurstræti, Austurstræti. Mig langar eitthvað að borða. Ég veit ekki. Ég veit. But I remember a lot, which I'm very impressed by. So this is like, I would have never gotten to do this in like Italian. This is crazy of how much I remember. I hope you enjoyed this video. And I hope that soon I can speak to an Icelandic person. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I gave some tips. I hope you enjoyed my ramble of conversation at the end. And I will see you in my next video. Yes. Goodbye.